Hello, internet friends. My name is Bay, and welcome to episode number 215. There's a lost episode in there somewhere of FinalBossTV. It has been quite some time since I have sat in front of you here and said hello and talked about stuff and or things which are common around these internet parts. But been away with family for a while. We lost my grandfather. And then, of course, as all things sort of seem to balance out, my sister just had her first baby. So things have been busy around the Boss household. People seem to like use Boss as my last name, even though that's just not true. But it is good to see you all again. This will be mostly a audio only podcast. I just wanted to say hi face to face here to start things out with. A lot of things have happened. The Activision Blizzard madness right now, if you haven't heard from previous little side content bits that I've done or been in my Discord for a long time, not longer covering World of Warcraft or anything Activision Blizzard King for the foreseeable future. Hopefully when a lot of adjustments and changes and good things happen to that company, then we'll go down that road again in the future. But for right now, there is a bunch of indie games we're going to play. There's a lot of Final Fantasy 14. If you've been following along with those new streams here, this episode drops right on sort of the cusp of Endwalker, which will be a big, huge new foray, which is what we're talking about here today, pretty much. I wanted to sort of poll my community that have been here for a long, long time and see if one of them wanted to sit down and just have a stream of consciousness, little chit chat for the next hour or so. And just to keep it, light and friendly and have fun. So I'll be joined today by Bob, who you may know that name around the Discord community and the live streams and the Destiny stuff and the WoW stuff before that. And now the Final Fantasy 14 stuff. Bob will be here. He's been here for years and years. And then to get someone that's a little more new to the community, Ben, who is our resident British person, which is the token name that goes around in Discord. He'll be here talking to us today. But again, audio only. Just this little intro part is me saying hello. So you can see Pikachu. You can get your copium because he's right there. I don't know what that word means. Am I a boomer? I don't know. But Ben's a zoomer, so I think we'll balance that out a little bit. And just sort of going over, talking about Final Fantasy 14, the plans I have right now. Again, of course, there'll be a lot of streams. Everything will be here on YouTube. Everything. So live shows, side content, streams, all that stuff is right here. So I don't have to go hunting, looking around for it. And that might be like some side content-y, small form stuff that may be on like Instagram. I might make a TikTok. I don't know. I might do some YouTube shorts. We'll see what happens when it happens. But this is just to hang out and talk with my community and then sort of mirror that to the audio only stuff to make a podcast for you guys, sort of update things on what's been going on. So if you don't want to hear Bob, Ben, and I just yammering on, then this little intro part is for you. I look forward to seeing you on the live streams, seeing you in the YouTube comments, seeing you on the Discord server, hanging out. A lot of stuff happening. Endwalker. There's so many RPGs coming out in the future here. Maybe Cyberpunk's good enough to play. We've got the Destiny 2 stuff on the horizon. SWTOR's got a new expansion. Everyone's talking about Arcane and that new Rune King game from Riot Forges or whatever the heck. Tons of stuff to go over and talk about. Also, like, holy did you watch Loki? How about the Cowboy Bebop live action? Maybe we'll talk about movie and film stuff and some of these in the future. We'll see. I've always wanted to branch away from only doing World of Warcraft, and well, only World of Warcraft would kill World of Warcraft, so unfortunately. But hopefully many, many positive changes come from that. But without yammering on for too much longer, let's bring up the overlay, and then I'll bring up my community guest today, and we'll just kind of have a chat. So thank you again if you just wanted the updates. Otherwise, enjoy three dorks talking about Final Fantasy 14, a little bit of World of Warcraft, and just having a good time. Enjoy the podcast, and I'll see you all more right here. Everything, like I said, right here. Pikachu 2. Hey, he'll it's Pikachu. All right, so I couldn't introduce and just jump into the call because I was told to not bring up any inside jokes, which is fine. So Ben said to insult him. So Ben, you have funny teeth.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, from anyone that knows that hangs out in Discord or is in even the text channels and things, shout out to Gorek, who we just recently converted to 14 after much. It took like half a year of talking to him about 14, and then he buys the game the day before the 1 day maintenance and downtime before Endwalker.
These are all the characteristics of a smart man.
Well, Gorek is a very sweet man, but it was funny when he was like, I finally did it and bought Final Fantasy, which he didn't even like. I told him to play like the Heavens War, like play it for free because the free trial is ridiculous with 14. And then he just started buys the whole thing, like the whole deluxe Shadowbringers, everything. So that's fine. But we're going to talk a bunch about 14 today. And Gorek, if you're listening to this in the future, then yeah, we're talking about you as well. This is like a community show. So I was gonna say another joke I was gonna bring up was Phaedron, and just talk about how always salty he is. But I don't think it's anything new. It's not really much of a joke.
More of a fact, really.
It is a little bit, yeah. But Bob, if you have recovered from the scaring you guys a moment ago when I just like jumped back into the Discord call. I guess the first little question I have here, just to start us off with, is a standalone. What is your favorite part, like best part of Final Fantasy 14? Because we've played WoW for years and years and years. We did a ton of World of Warcraft together over the last like half a decade in comparison, and the last 6 months, maybe a little more for me, a little less for other people. What's your best part of 14 so far?
Story.
I don't know if that's the cop-out answer, Ben.
It's just the answer.
I mean, that is the objective answer.
Yeah.
That is the best part of 14.
That is the thing that makes 14 different from WoW.
So if anything, it's not even a good answer because it's just a given anyway.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough.
Get called out. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Like.
Get a better answer.
I don't know. Like. The moment-to-moment gameplay is really hard to compare because they're just different.
They are for sure. Yeah.
Like they have different goals. Like that. The only thing that kept me playing WoW was the gameplay.
Yeah, because the story was hit or miss for many people, and that was like the newest thing. Every major to minor patch in World of Warcraft was, oh, what's Sylvanas doing now? Oh, what's Anduin doing now? It was never like, oh, what's Sylvanas doing now? And oh, what's Anduin doing now? But yeah, Final Fantasy 14 gets you by the feels real quick in some of these expansions and keeps you going.
Yeah, like the classic "Welcome to Shadowbringers" moment.
Oh yeah, well, welcome to the without spoilery stuff. We don't know
I'm not gonna say anything more than that.
Well,
it's everyone who's played Shadowbringers knows what that means.
Yep.
And if you haven't played Shadowbringers, you don't know what that means.
but you will eventually.
But you will when it happens, because it's very clear. Oh, this is the thing.
Yeah. Well, but that's what I was gonna caveat is that Shadowbringer starts with like a two-pronged choice, and one of them is what you're talking about. The other is like okay, and then you choose the other, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter which way you go. You get to the one, and you're like, oh.
Right. But if you start off with the one right off the bat, then you definitely come down from like you come down from a really pretty pretty okay neutral to triumphant time from the previous expansion. And then Shadowbringer says, mm-mm,
Yeah.
nope.
I think that's enough of that, don't you?
Yeah. it's wild.
So do you echo that then, Ben? Are you just MSQ main story quest like the
MSQ is the best part of the game, that's no doubt.
yeah.
But in terms of not using the easy answer, Bob,
Attack?
It's pretty standard for around these parts.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know this. I've housing, decorating,
Mm.
easily my favorite thing about the game. I sat there for many hours, 14, doing my apartment.
Oh, well, when we first got our
yeah.
house, finally, after camping for close to 3 weeks, like 2.5, yeah, then you just basically didn't log out for probably 16 to 18 hours decorating the house. And then you took a nap
Yeah.
and woke back up, and that was you for the next couple of days. And then like a
Pretty
week
much.
later, you redid the entire outside of the house.
Now it's looking extremely crispy. Yeah.
It looks nice. It looks nice. It is a bit jarring though when you're at the house and you're like, okay, it looks like this. You can teleport away and do some roulettes and then come back, and then the whole outside is changed, including the exterior and the paint. All of it.
Hey,
Magic.
it shouldn't
Don't worry
change
about
for now. It shouldn't change anymore for now.
I think to have a better answer than just the obvious one, yes.
Right.
It's the job and class system, like, and not having to have alts, and just simply your character is your character, and you get to play all of the jobs. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just generally so gameplay focused. Like, being able to play all the jobs, it really appeals to me.
It is definitely a pretty huge strength. I don't know if any other MMO does that with 14. And I know when I started playing, like my date when I started playing the trial was the end of May, so it's just a little over 6 months for me. And when you look at that, a huge part of the game is definitely leveling up your jobs and learning all the jobs. From all of my 15 plus years of experience beforehand, even like WoW and SWTOR and a little bit of Guild Wars 2 back in the day, and just having the ability to just go, I'm gonna tank this dungeon. You know what? No, actually, I'm gonna heal this trial. You know what? I'm gonna DPS these fates, and you don't have to log out. You don't have to change like anything. You just click your your gear set button. It changes your weapon, changes all your armor. There you go.
Mm-hmm. It's great. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, if the system wasn't like that, I never would have leveled a healer, for instance. Like, and it was the most fun I've had doing Astro. Astro was great fun.
Yeah.
I mean, Bob and I leveled. I think you were doing Dark Knight at the time, was it?
Yeah. I was getting my dork net on.
We sat in dungeons for hours, and it was always fun. The card system is you're always doing something.
Yeah.
So it's not. There's never a moment where you just sort of stood there,
it's one of the
looking around. John Travolta
the
moment.
amount of actions that the like decisions you're making on Astro is, I think, one of the big draws to the class.
Yeah. Well, I think that what you point out right there too, in opening up that job related question and the just the way the class system works. Essentially, every job has a bit of a hook that gets you the moments that swing around in any gameplay loop, right? Like in Destiny 2, right? It's the gunplay, the moment to moment, improved 60 FPS, Halo inspired gunplay carries a lot of Destiny 2. We've been playing a lot of Halo Infinite actually recently too, and that's also the same thing. Like the gunplay carries the game. Other stuff's like whatever. And then 14, it's when your cooldowns come back around and your moment of power hits and you're doing your whole rotation right in those moments, or making the right decision on the fly, while dodging telegraphs, or cast skating and stuff like that. There's little parts that aren't really difficult, but they all feel really good in that combat loop. And then it keeps you wanting to go back and do it again. Like when you hit the right you've been learning ninja lately, and definitely hitting all your mudras correctly is good.
Yeah, not rabbiting feels pretty strong.
Yeah.
Not rabbiting during trick attack, not actually getting through correctly all of the things I'm trying to fit into trick attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I play a lot of
more specifically the 2-minute trick attacks, they're very full. But yeah.
And we've learned a lot of this in the Shadowbringers bubble now, and Endwalker comes out. We're recording this, and then this goes up later today. This is during maintenance right now. So everything, we were looking at patch notes earlier, and a lot of little to big sweeping changes. Summoner, for example, or huge quality of life changes like Enochian for Black Mage. I know you're super happy about that one. When we were watching the live letter, watching the live letter, and you know, Yoshi P obviously speaking in Japanese, and then the translation comes through, and then, you know, Enochian's becoming a passive trait. It's just,
God, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so much, like, sure, it technically reduces the skill floor to play class, and maybe reduces the skill ceiling for UG, but, like, if you're doing the rotation correctly, Enochian doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it never drops.
So it almost it might as well just be
it might as well not be there.
Yeah.
So, like, the best black mages in the world never drop Enochian because they just do the rotation.
Yeah.
But by removing it as a thing you have to pay attention to, just make the job easier to play for more people, which is just better.
Yeah.
So.
And then Ben,
recovering from that is always the worst.
Oh, well, you lose
everything.
That is, I guess that's the flip side of this. Before I was gonna spend about tanking, because he's primarily be doing that, but which that it is a bit of a segue into that too, because you've mostly been playing Paladin, and I've leveled all the tanks, I've leveled all the healers, I've leveled an assortment of caster, ranged, and melee DPS. But out of all the tanks, the point that Bob just brought up is when you miss something in 14, you definitely get punished because you're sort of playing a song. You're playing a huge, like, you know, piano chunk, and you're going through the different bars of your song. And if you mess up, or the term is you drift certain parts apart and they don't line up the same way, you lose things and you'll never get them back. And that happens in World of Warcraft, as we, you know, lightly compared stuff earlier. But for sure with Paladin then, Ben, and how you know, what do you on the combat system there? Because you've basically only been playing in all of our raids and trials and all of our stuff we've been doing right now. Because I know you relearned Paladin not too long ago, and then there's changes to it tomorrow again.
Well, the changes are somewhat ignorable in terms of how the rotation works right now.
Okay.
The changes just take the chunk out, which is annoying.
Oh, true. The post Requiescat magic damage phase, when you like don't have the right phase, so you're prepping for the next one, but you redo your dot kinda, but not really, and then all of a sudden you're doing okay.
Like the reapplication of the bleed is immediately after rec is doesn't need to happen anymore.
Yeah. Well, so now you
can go straight into Royal Authority and all the other jazz. So that's much better already.
So what are the phases going to be called then for Paladin? You've got the physical DPS phase, the magic damage phase, and the sword phase. Is that correct?
Of course.
No, there's still only the 2 phases. Like, it doesn't change that.
No, sword phase.
Because
sword phase.
So
whatever, you do you, man. But like, well, all the new abilities for Paladin follow Confiteor, like, they're just part of Requiescat, basically.
Yeah.
Because you can only use them after Confiteor, and they...
Big 4-button...
Yeah.
Bro moment.
It just makes Confiteor a 4-button combo instead of just the one thing. But like, just looking at Paladin, like, your magic spell is not costing 2,000 MP. Sword Oath lasting 30 seconds. Like,
yeah. Well, they've just
actually having mana to cast Clemency when you want to.
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, admittedly, not that you should need to, because your healers should be on top of that.
Well, the changes to rec and the
yeah.
mana reduction as well is also just going to extend the amount of time you're in the magic damage chunk anyway.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like a 16. But you're a ranged DPS for like 16 seconds if you do the full.
You're in there for
full
pretty much double the amount of time you was before.
Yeah.
Because I guess like 30-second window now for rec. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's a 30-second window. But if you cast all 5, like the 4 Holy Spirits into Infidier, into the 3 blades after that, like that's 9 GCDs in a row.
Well, isn't it the 3 Confidiers after the first one? They don't cost mana.
Yeah, they don't cost mana.
Yeah, they give you
they
mana.
actually they generate mana.
They generate now, yeah.
Yeah, like Paladin has
you would
kind of ridiculous amount of mana.
You'd be able to cast way more Holy Spirits than just 4.
Well, you get the ones with the amplified potency from Requiscat is what I was talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being instant.
Yeah, and they bridge the gap between the physical rotation and the magic rotation, because right now you have a little bit of that weird, it's like, I don't know, if it's 12 to 18 second window when you're not in either of your damage buffs, where you're just kind of doing, So now that's what this new Endwalker rotation is for Paladin. And of course, all this jibber jabber, unless you're playing 14 right now, you have no idea what we're talking about. You're just like, these guys are dorks.
We got into it.
We did. But so this topic, best part of 14, sort of a standalone. Now, the only major comparison I thought to have to World of Warcraft is sort of this topic, and then we'll just talk about 14 stuff. So what is there? Do these compare to World of Warcraft? I know like the MSQ thing that's the easy answer, because the story in World of Warcraft is like, is there one? Question mark.
If you compare it to 14, no, there is. That's how I feel.
I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. They've been handcrafting this Warcraft 3. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh no. Yeah, well,
I don't want to get into it because like,
yeah,
I don't want to get too far into it, because like, if you get too far into it, then it just ends up just does on WoW for the next 10 minutes, and I don't think anybody really wants that.
Well, it'll be a mix. It'll be a mix of frustration and sadness.
Yeah,
but
sure.
World of Warcraft story was sort of never the main thing. But what is the main thing then of WoW? Like, if the best part of 14 is the job system, everything on one character, housing, huge one, and then obviously the MSQ, where does WoW compare to that? I mean, difficulty maybe, but the loot grind in World of Warcraft is where a lot of people get really frustrated, and the drip fed of, I gotta log in every week. And Mythic Plus is pretty fun, and we did, holy crap, the 3 of us and a couple other people from the community guild, we ran a lot of Mythic Plus. I mean, we grinded out 4 keys most week, 10 keys some week, lots of it on top of raiding. We definitely ran the treadmill. When we look back on it now, you're like, you can get your weekly stuff in 14, get your piece every week or 2. There's some random gear, but the time you put in gets rewarded with like guaranteed methods of progression. How many weeks did we, ask in Discord in the guild chat, did you guys get anything good from your vault? And we'll have 9 or 10 people in a row say, no, duplicate, crap. it was in blah slot, soon to be a tier slot, so you couldn't use it there. It's just sad and frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I felt it the most on EU side when I was raiding there with my Death Knight.
Oh, right.
I did not have a weapon above, I want to say Mythic 3 drop, like mid dungeon, of a two-handed weapon until after we had gotten to Mythic Sludgefist.
Yeah.
The entire time, I had a lackluster ass weapon because I could not get one anywhere else.
But that's so, and this is my hypothesis, like, year and a half, 2 years ago, or whatever, on the WoW versions of my show and side content and live streams, I brought up that the way that World of Warcraft did loot and does loot still to this day, Valor got a little bit better, but
it's still pretty shocking.
Yeah, that's how they keep you.
Too late.
That's how they keep you playing. So my little rambly point. That's how they keep you playing. They keep you running on this loot drip feed every week. But when I got into 14 and when I got through all the MSQ and got all the way through 5.5 and all of Shadowbringer, started working on gear, my white mage, I jumped so heavily at like the first tier with crafted gear as a catch-up mechanic, and then you get sort of that allegory mid-tier bump up, and then you can start doing the alliance raids, and you can just, you know, grind out either the weekly currency, Revelation at the time. Right now it's going away obviously in hours, and the tokens, and then you just upgrade your pieces to the end game current level. And the end game savage raids have a little bit more, the mythic equivalent or whatever, from WoW, but I felt like I was always putting in, you know, 4, 5, 6 hours and getting something out of it. Or you could run 4, 5, 6 hours of Mythic Plus. Besides the fun, your character gets nothing.
Yeah.
And that was just, again, the sad and frustration part. And that was the biggest, like, eye-opening moment to me about 2 months ago when I got to the gearing part of 14. Because 3.5 months with story and cutscenes and reading. It just feels.
I'm pretty sure the 200 anima was worth it.
Oh, yeah. Oh God,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's a lot, but just like on a more positive note.
Yeah.
Like the thing that WoW has always done really well, like, well, mostly done really well, is the moment-to-moment gameplay. Like it's
Combat, yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Like it just feels so good to play.
True.
I mean, I don't think anyone can disagree there.
Like that's always been its strong suit, which is unfortunately I think that's why it got into the state that it's in. Because like the combat's so good, so you're like, okay, well, let's just make good encounters. Well, okay, we did that. Well, let's do that some more. Oh, but now the people doing the high end, like now, like the high end people are going to do whatever they can to like do the thing. Well, it's just like a whole laundry list of things that just like cascade from the combat's really, really good.
Yeah.
I do feel like they sort of started falling into the whole, instead of making a good fight, let's make an annoying fight. Definitely became more of a reoccurring thing in Shadowlands.
We had those jabs. And I definitely don't want to just do like the back and forth jabs here, even though, you know, part of the conversation goes there.
I mean, like, it's not like all of the fights were like that in
right.
St. Athria, for instance. There were just a few that were just, I don't know what the hell was going through their minds. I had no idea. Like,
I think that to me that always felt like a reaction to the strength of add-ons.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But if they took a stance on that early, they wouldn't have this. They wouldn't have the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, they did kind of take a stance. It was the stance that
it was the stance of
the burden on them, not the burden on us, basically. Like the burden on them was, we'll make an encounter that's interesting and challenging, while the players have access to near infinite power from add-on.
So, yeah. So give me the flip of that though. So get off the WoW stuff. I think we've scratched that itch enough. So what's like the weirdest or like least favorite pet peeve part of 14 then? Because the game is getting so much praise right now. There is a huge influx of players over the past year at different parts of the Activision Blizzard lawsuit, or people burning out from Shadowlands, or people wanting to try something different, or the meme about, you know, did you know the Kirkly acclaimed MMORPG? Any crap. So what is?
I mean, that meme is real.
It's real. It's so real.
It's just the truth.
Yeah. So
like,
so Ben, what is your like weirdest, least favorite part of 14 then?
Well, I did
lamps.
I did accidentally kill Bob with this earlier. But you know, as you know, I spent many hours in housing. And I don't know if you noticed, there's 4 lamps across my windows that I've lifted, and I had to lift through means that they're not meant to be there because they are floor lamps.
Yeah, I think I showed off your room on stream a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, you have to like force the actual texture through another thing to push it up the Z-axis.
Yeah, that is by far the most annoying thing. Like, I don't mind the whole clipping things into a wall and stuff like that to like just hide them to make more space. Yeah. That stuff's fine. But please, can I put a lamp on a table?
Yeah. Well, there are table lamps, but then there are...
Yes, but the floor lamps look better.
Yeah, well...
Have you seen the Tombury floor lamp?
Maybe not. I think I have.
Great. The floor lamp that's too small to be a floor lamp?
Yes. It's crazy. Just want to put it on a little table in the corner.
That's a pretty... It's a pretty, lukewarm pet peeve if your most annoying part of Final Fantasy XIV is lamps.
I spent a lot of time in there, okay? Do you have any idea how long it takes to lift a floor lamp to a sensible height?
I mean, yeah.
Much clicks.
Bob, what's yours?
Oh, man. I probably should have thought about this. Some more. Yeah, I don't know. Like a thing that like just irritates me.
Yeah, I mean, I have a list actually.
There's so many good things though.
That's true.
Talk about the good things.
That is
way
true.
More fun.
I mean, I have a bit of a list here. I have, so I have, because this is like I'm pulling from the content document to make videos about this in the future, right? But like one of the ones that I wrote off the bat was that the market board or any duty pop-up equals, and this happens with your retainers too, the game has a very you do one thing at a time menu system, and that's definitely annoying.
Yeah, that's very much a remnant of 1.0.
Because your duty pops, your roulette, you're like, cool, let's do a trial. You can't open anything. You can't eat food. You can't do nothing. You can't look at your friends list anymore. You can't look in your it's all gone.
Oh,
do the duty. That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, now I've got one that's really irritating.
That's
the friends list thing.
When there's so many positive things, you kind of forget about those little things.
That's true.
Like it's so tiny.
Me and Bob sat here trying to think of something, and the only thing that I could think of was the fact that I couldn't put a floor lamp on a table. that was the thing that got me.
Like, yeah, like the you basically can't talk to your friends while you're in a duty. Like they literally can't message you. Like you basically don't exist.
Yeah.
When you're in a duty, and like if you're like, say you're in a raid and you're doing your like progression, like that's 3 hours, because that's basically 3 hours where you're just like, yeah, you don't exist to the world.
Yeah.
All your names gray out in the free company, and you're all in the little red icon, and you can't message, you can't be messaged. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird remnants left over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an annoying one, but yeah.
Yeah, I still just want to talk about good stuff because it's way more fun.
It's true. Yeah. Another note I had on here is the housing system, and it is changing in Endwalker, but currently it's sort of controlled by that weird housing black market reseller thing, and that's player based. That's not like a system based thing, but we did hardcore camp to get a house for probably 2.5 weeks. It was only a couple of you at first. But toward the end, there was, 5 or 6 of us camping out?
It started off with me, the lone soldier.
Yeah.
And then Blessed Div, the Canadian, comes along.
Oh, gosh.
then you've got Douth there. Don't know where he's from. Don't know which state.
He's from the bathtub state. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna put our mics behind the monitor state. That one.
That's also true. Yeah, that's that's actually the city he lives in the bathtub state. Is mic behind monitor city. Yeah. Yep.
Great place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Eventually, we got a sizable group.
We did.
Clicking on that bloody stick.
Yeah, we did.
With some paper on it.
Yep. So that is
Yeah,
easily, and that's the tough part. Like, there's, you can be like, oh, ARR patch content really long and slow and so much reading. That sucks. And that's a hard one to say is it's a weak point, sure, but it's hard to think.
I would still argue the weakest.
Yeah, it would still. Yeah. It's still hard to think about like actually like really bad things. And I know that's because we've only been playing for, Ben's been playing longer, in this whole thing. Bob's been in the part of the community for way longer than Ben, but Ben's also been playing Final Fantasy way longer than the other two of us. And even like Thadrin, the Salt Lord himself, he's been playing for quite some time. But it's a tough thing to.
A lot longer than I.
You can probably, get some nitpicky pet peeves, but it is tough to really. I mean, I'm complaining about menus. That's where I went. So.
Yeah. Like, all the stuff that is weak is like this really narrow, specific thing.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah. Yeah, sure. The ARR section of the MSQ is slow and tedious.
Right.
But then you get to like the end of it and it starts to pick up. And then you get into Heavensward and it's like, the meme is real. And then you go to Stormblood, it's like, this is still great.
Yeah, it is.
Stormblood's only sin is following Heavensward, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
If they were both flipped, they'd be like Stormblood wouldn't be seen as like a weaker expansion. It would just be a growth.
A growth each time. Yeah.
Now the story wouldn't work in that setup, but at least in its current iteration, of course. But
there's definitely some things, and I'm sure if we like maybe PvP'd more, I know I've done a lot of the side systems. The squadron stuff is kind of weird because there's also a bunch of like squadron ranks that exist. You can read them and they're there, and they're even data mined on the like wiki, but they don't actually exist in the game. They don't actually exist, which is, there's weird things like that are kind of, and then I guess as a capstone, Limsa Lo Minsa Aetherite Plaza, kind of weird, but
yeah, but that's not the game's fault.
No,
you can't blame the game for that.
Well, no, the one thing I can blame on the game is the ambient track. When you have a large group of people, when you hit a certain threshold, when all the other ambient noise comes in, the weird like Lalafel grunt moan. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard this.
Why? It's because I brought this up the other day. Thadrin argued with me that it's like someone doing an emote making the noise, but no, because I hear it during hunt trains in the middle of Kalusia fighting Little Murderer, where the Lalafel does the What is that? It happens.
I'm destroyed.
It's so weird, dude. I don't know why that's in the ambient crowd mix. Enough. But again, these are so
weird one.
It's so strange. Every couple of minutes, you just hear like a Lalafel orgasm. You're just like, why? It makes sense, I guess, but why?
I personally haven't heard it. But,
I
don't know. I haven't heard it either, but.
I mean, I definitely could see a bit.
I also don't spend a lot of time in places where that track is playing.
Where the crowd ambience kicks up.
Like, I specifically avoid that track because I don't like the sound of it generally.
And I definitely have many times where I've been bopping around doing either hunt trains or in Limsa doing market board stuff where I mute the ambient track so it turns it off. But it's so weird. It's so weird. What's not weird, however, I still have this pulled up on my other monitor. So this is a bit of a dig at WoW. WoW used to have great patch notes back in the day when they used to have some community folks. Coffee Bird, shout out to, he's moved on to different things. They had pretty good, comprehensive patch notes. But this is my first experience. We've watched the last 3 live letters together, like watch-alongs. I've just engaged with and soaked up so much 14 stuff, and then the full-fledged patch notes come out for Endwalker during downtime maintenance, which is right now. This is the most complete, like, put together, graphically designed, fully fleshed
I have
out.
to disagree with you.
What? Excuse me?
These patch notes are so much less informative compared to WoW's.
See, well,
WoW's patch notes were always way better at like actually giving you the information.
well, I guess
in one place.
I guess that's what you're looking for, because the patch notes for 14 go over all the systems sweeping stuff, the battle systems. If you're talking about like buffs and nerfs to class abilities and spells and things of that nature, yeah, WoW did that in giant blue blocks of text.
Yeah,
but
and
this
that was really, really nice and clean.
Yeah, but there's so much more to 14 than that. All the different adjustments they've made and how many lines of text, how many entries, and some of them, even for us 6-month, Final Fantasy 14 babies at this point, compared to, like Mr. Happy or whatever, and playing his whole life. There's so much information, and they clarify so many things that you read through and you're like, yeah, but like, why did you make a page of that? It's helpful, but they're so incredibly thorough. I'm looking through all the gathering crafting stuff right now, scrolling through all the little changes they made to all the old high quality quest things. Like, they didn't have to tell us that. They could have been like, a bunch of your quests have changed and updated, and some of them do. Others just, it's like 3 full scroll wheels down. It's madness.
We're not gonna talk about belts.
Dude, Mr. Happy's little belt thing, when he was scrolling through that in his live patch thing, it's a lot of belt information.
Good. It was so good.
But the thing is, they talk about it on 2 live letters. They've tweeted about it. There was a post about it after the first live letter. And they're in this huge patch note cycle. And I bet you they did this for amazing redundancy. So people knew when they log in today, hopefully the information permeates, your belts are gone. But people are still like, where's my belt?
Yeah, but how are you going to keep your pants up?
And yeah, your pants have belts built in, or suspenders.
Well, did you not see the fucking?
Or they're made of belts.
Yeah, they said there's a little header on the belts now. What does it say here? Yeah, it says before becoming obsolete due to advancements in tailoring, belts such as this were used to hold up trousers and the like. So that's why, Bob, you don't need belts anymore. There's been advancements in tailoring.
Oh, it actually, it's on the tooltip of the belt in game.
Which is a great bit. I love that bit a lot.
I thought it was just like a part of I had to find it. Yep, it's on the in-game base tooltip. Before becoming obsolete due to advancements in tailoring, belts such as this were used for holding up trousers and the like. I mean, we're not even talking about other positive things, like the way that swimming works in 14, that you just kind of, you're blessed to swim and you can swim in the water forever because you have an underwater breathing spell cast on you. So there's no breath gauge, none of that crap. Your mount can swim underwater with you, right?
At fly speed.
At fly speed. It's just like you're flying through thick air, which technically air is also water. Whatever.
Just skip over it. Keep going.
Yep. So
we're not gonna get into that.
But he just said thick air, Bob. I don't want to let him get away with that.
He did, but like,
I mean, if you make air thick enough, it becomes water.
We don't have to get into it.
Right?
No, it doesn't. We don't have to get into it.
The patch notes are, and part of your what you said too, Bob, makes sense. But I mean, so much of this, it just, I mean, they have to have an applet or something, some widget for their website to make this happen, because WoWs were just giant blue blocks of text with like, HTML formatting and, some, paragraph brackets, and it was just blue text. It doesn't have. I
do like the formatting of these way better.
The formatting,
the formatting is really good.
The patch is that they affect the game moving forward. All the different screenshot examples of all the different tooltips. It's all broken down, and I'm still scrolling. Like, you can scroll this thing for a few minutes. It is dense. All the new UI updates and changes. It's absolutely wild. And so much of this, which is my whole point, sharing all this information and putting all this work into these patch notes is definitely no small feat. And so much of these changes don't even impact you at all in the game. But the information they're sharing with you is so you just know.
Oh yeah, big respect to whatever team patched them together for sure.
It just baffled me because it's my first expansion patch note compared to like World of Warcraft, and I'm used to seeing everything done. I mean, it's a bit of a jab. I'm used to seeing all the patch note stuff for expansions done by Wowhead and MMO Champion, not by Blizzard themselves about their own game. You know?
Hey,
Yeah.
they got better shit to do.
Well,
I guess.
I guess.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. But talking about patch notes, though, what is your, Ben, what is your win from the notes? And I had a few here if you don't have them, but what is your overall, either from the class stuff or from the overall system stuff in the mega notes? What's your win, your biggest win?
Biggest win.
They didn't add a Z access to the housing system, so sorry about that.
I mean, I got one.
Big disappointment.
I got some pretty big wins.
Easy answer for me would just be swords, but
the sword phase for Paladin. Yep.
That's definitely big exciting. That's gonna take a while to get bored of.
And the job action trailer is like, okay, there's the Requiescat sword, and then there's new swords, and then there's bigger swords, and then there's
there's even more
Titan-sized sword. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so what's your biggest win,
so
Bob?
many. There's so many just great things. Like Paladin Paladin spawning into duties max oath gauge. Great. Like you can start off combat with oath gauge for Sheltron and stuff. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Not losing your astro signs when dying on Astrologian. Not losing your arcanums on Summoner. Like not basically your whole rotation not resetting when you die on Summoner is like gonna feel so good.
You'll do a little less damage when you get back up after a raise, but yeah, that's a huge.
Yeah, but like your rotation still functions.
Is that for Samurai then too? Do their stickers stay if they die?
That's not noted.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they already. I don't remember if they do right now. It's been a minute since I played Samurai, but
yeah, I mostly tank and heal, so exactly. I a lot of the other ones you've mentioned though are still really good.
Yeah. 3 stacks of bloodletter for Bard. Bard songs affecting themselves.
Yeah, that's what I had written down. Yeah,
Blood of the Dragon being passive for Dragoon.
Similar to the Enochian Black Mage change, yeah.
Like, having played a little bit of Dragoon now at level 70, I did not realize how much of a quality of life improvement making Blood of the Dragon passive was. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, Matt,
I would say the Red Mage AoE their flares and whatnot.
Oh
yeah, that's huge. That's so big.
That's pretty nice.
Like Red Mage having a real AoE rotation. Finally.
Well, right. Well, they can build and spend to do like the little AoE, the AoE frontal cone thing. But
yeah, but now they have like a real sword combo.
Right. And your hugest spells currently are only single target. Now are at least gonna have AoE damage fall off. So if you're cleaving, you're not just only attacking one thing. That's huge. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Geez, what else?
There's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say as well, the crafting changes are definitely huge.
Oh, yeah.
The removal of high quality crafting materials that unless you craft the material yourself, is definitely beneficial. Like the RNG sort of like the skins and whatnot, they're no longer high quality. They won't ever be.
Yeah. That whole section is helpful. I mean, I've leveled every crafter to 80. Ben sort of followed up not too long ago doing the same thing. So we both. What?
I beat you. You know it.
Excuse me?
You know that happened.
I saved my last job to record some B-roll footage when I hit 80 because I was showing off how ridiculous leave quests are.
You got beat by me and Div.
Div came out of nowhere. He was like, I leveled one class, was started way later than all of us, and then all of a sudden had all the crafters to 80.
Yeah.
But he also was he even done with Shatterbringers by that point? I don't think he was.
I don't know.
No, he wasn't. Yeah,
It's
he
Oh
just-
my
was.
god, I forgot about the 1.5 second healer fillers.
Well, true. Definitely.
There's so many things that are great
Yeah.
about this patch. Like even for Scholar, like the redheaded stepchild of the healers right now.
It is pretty nice
Just
having
like-
most of the classes feel good.
Yeah.
That's
Like-
definitely a thing.
Moving the spell you can only cast while Seraph is up onto your Seraph button.
That's nice. Oh, like,
Like-
you're that's like a UI
Yeah, you
thing.
summon. Yeah, no, you summon Seraph,
Yeah.
and summon Seraph becomes Constellation.
That works. I mean, that's
Yeah, that's great. It's just free real estate.
that's what they did with continuation. That's what they're doing for
Yeah.
Gunbreaker. I mean, granted,
It's not, and other stuff too. It's a bunch of stuff is
Yeah.
like like that sort of thing's happening, and it's great. It's all good stuff.
I
How-
would absolutely hate Confidia if I had 4 extra buttons to press. Like if they weren't all smushed into one, I'd hate it.
it would be a
Yeah,
little.
that would be horrendous.
How about /pet size?
Pet size affecting Phoenix and Ifrit and Garuda and Titan and
I mean-
Bahamut.
Yep.
We definitely needed to make it work with fucking with Titan.
Although-
we
Oh,
cannot
yeah.
have Big Batman come out of
Although,
nowhere and take
I-
up the whole screen.
I will say, I think I'm on board with Mr. Happy's opinion. There needs to be a bigger size than large.
Yeah.
Oh, but only for the summoner, right?
Well, for it's personal. Like that
right. Yeah.
that whole
Has to
thing
be-
is for you. Only it changes your game
should be a
files.
life size option. So I'm
No,
saying.
it's
Life
calamity
size?
size.
I don't think
Calamity size.
like
Oh my God, that's-
I'm
Phoenix.
totally on board with him on that. That's cool as hell.
Most of them will be big enough. And the meme that Mr. Happy was getting at is that he just wants like Bahamut's head to render over 7/8 of his entire screen and just puke Ankh-Morns and lag his game out and crash Final Fantasy XIV due to texture overload. I get it.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
I get it. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That
Well, once at least.
well, yeah. Then you turn it
And
off
then-
because you don't want to
then
have
turn
your
off and-
you don't want your
then you
game
gotta
to
play the
keep crashing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. What is that? Dalthier does it and just like, goes offline, mid pandemonium savage boss fight. Dalthier, what are you doing? I'll be right back. Bahamut crashed my game. Something like that.
I mean, that might happen anyway, but
It might. Dalthier does tend to break everything he he interacts with, video game wise at least.
like, and I mean, I'm just excited for Sage. Like,
I'm
It's-
just excited for tomorrow in general. couldn't be
well,
quick enough.
yeah, that's part of it.
Definitely part of it.
Just got
I definitely
there.
didn't log out in front of the Sage trainer.
I
Wait,
logged
what
out. I logged out in Kagane in the inn because I glugged my free ARR Fantasia because I'm going bun boy when I log in, and I thought of that might be the least Gridania Inn was my second choice for like least populated inn, but Kagane might be a good hit because if you log out in like Mordona or Limsa or Ul'dah, you are screwed because that's
It's gonna
where
be tough.
everything's starting.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
But even part of the patch notes is they're layering certain areas of the game. They didn't say, but if I had to guess, they're probably adding layers to Limsa, adding layers to Ul'dah because the Reaper and Sage are starting, and adding layers to Mordona. That's where the freaking MSQ starts. So we'll see.
And probably early area or early MSQ.
Early,
areas.
yeah, for sure. Because people will teeter out eventually, right? But
Yeah.
it'll be something. But yeah, so I choose just Kagane, drank my Fantasia, logged out, killed all my belts, pulled out my materia, rearranged all my retainers inventory. Actually gave myself a bit of a headache and a bit of a panic attack because I was like moving so many things. But it's all nice and neat. Got about 12 million gil made on my retainers, looking nice. But out of all of everything we've done over the past 6 months, sort of like to wrap this up, I put like raids and trials in my notes, but you could expand upon that if you wanted to. What's like your favorite moment so far over your experience with, most of it will keep it to contain to this new, like the community guild, what we've built here, but we've sort of graduated from. I know if Phaedron was here, or if he's listening to this on YouTube or on audio only, he's going to be like, "I told you 2.5 years ago to play 14."
Yeah, that does sound like Phaedron.
Man,
Yeah,
I can hear him now, actually.
he's not like wrong.
well, yeah, you know, but I think part of, and what I've said about this too is, yeah, I could have started playing during, you know, Stormblood, but I don't think I would have had the same playing through all this story and then absorbing all this information over the past half a year has been very dense. But I don't know if I would have had the same if I had 2 less years of it. Obviously, starting with Shadowbringers fresh would have been crazy, because doing that story, it also would have been probably like, it's when you watch your favorite show and it cliffhangers you and you need to wait a week. Imagine if you waited 6 months for, you know, patch 5.3. Like, that would have been.
I don't know how people like survived going from Stormblood to Shadowbringers.
Yeah,
like that cliffhanger.
That cliffhanger was big.
Oh, that cliffhanger is rough.
Yeah.
It do be the biggest of cliffhangers. Yeah.
But being able to just go to the next quest was great.
Well, yeah, for us, that's why I said, like,
yeah.
we were.
I think a lot of the reason why I couldn't bring myself to actually get started in 14 is, for starters, my previous experience playing the game.
Oh my god, we mentioned Phaedron, and oh god.
Well, he can't get in this channel, so haha.
He appeared.
That is kind of funny, though. He is in Discord now, all of a sudden.
Told you.
Yeah.
He could hear us.
He heard a disturbance in the salt force. But no, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, so the main thing that kept me from playing it like a long time ago, like earlier anyway, was my first experience with it back in ARR. I got getting to level 50 and then going like, okay, well, so how do I optimize my character to go do Binding Coil?
Yeah.
Oh, go level Monk to 48.
Yeah, what?
I'm a bard.
What? How long ago did you play?
Go level during ARR.
Oh, good lord, yeah, okay.
I think Binding Coil turn 1, or Binding, I think the first coil was out. I don't know if the second coil was out.
Yeah.
Right.
That was definitely a
thing
I'm happy they got rid of.
Yeah.
Finding out, you need to have level 48 Monk and level like 30 something Lancer to get the skills, like to get your best skills.
Oh.
Like not even like passives. I mean, like literal active skills for that you wanted to optimize for Bard.
Is this ARR 2.0 or 1.0?
It was definitely 2.0.
Oh, no, 2.0 is ARR. Otherwise, just FF14.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was that. Yeah. Also, that is when I experienced Castrum Mirandum for the first time.
Right.
No, that's not the right one. Is that the right one?
The
level
first
50 Castrum.
The first
level 50 Castrum. Yeah. And I was trying to be like, because I was still like learning this first time I'd done it. I'm like, oh, I want to watch these cutscenes. Yeah, so those cutscenes were skippable at that point.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So I watched a cutscene, and partway through the cutscene, I got a, hey, the next cutscene started. And ended my cutscene and started the next one.
Yeah.
I was like,
and
good. I have to, so I'm playing with a friend of mine at this time, and like, well, this is an awful experience.
Yeah. The only way you could view all of the cutscenes at your own pace was going to the book afterwards, and even then, I don't think the book was in.
I don't remember if it was when I was there, but like, I did it one time, I think. I might have done it twice, and then the second time when that happened again, I was just like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, ARR started off pretty rough.
That's why there just isn't a better alternative currently. Like, it's just you have to watch them, or that's that.
I remember.
I don't think people
But it's
realize.
also the same reason why they're never going to do an 8-man dungeon again.
Oh yeah.
I don't think people realize that if they do sort something out where the cutscenes are no longer going to be a mandatory thing to watch, that's a big chunk of XP you're not going to be getting, because they're not going to give you the same amount of XP. If people think that's going to happen, they are crazy.
But so that experience really soured me on 14 for a really long time. So that in combination with just not if I the reason that I got into 14 again is because I was unemployed.
True. Earlier this year,
yeah. If I had had a job, I would not have had time to play this game the way I played it, and to really experience it the way I did, and really truly fall in love with it.
You definitely did dig in pretty hard, because I've been absorbing this game and writing notes and stuff.
I definitely didn't break my sleep schedule 6 times in a week.
Yep, well, you a little bit.
I'm exaggerating a little, but still.
What about you, Ben? Do you have a favorite versus least favorite kind of thing that we've either done so far, or are you going back?
Of dungeons and trials and whatnot.
Bob picked a least favorite thing, because that reminded me of the fact that my earliest experience with 14 was with 1.0.
Oh, I didn't really pick a thing. I just was.
Oh, you didn't pick. You want to pick a thing?
I didn't realize that there was a question being asked.
Oh boy, that's true.
I was just we were just talking about why we hadn't started it earlier.
Right.
And that's my story.
That's true.
The question is, out of all the stuff that we have done in the last 6-month bubble or so, what's your favorite or least favorite sort of thing that we've done together, or you've done or experienced?
Put it out there right now. I haven't done it with any of you, apart from Bob maybe. But the dungeon Doma Castle, get that shit out of here.
Well, I don't know.
Get that shit all the way out of here.
That's a very specific thing, but okay.
Hey, I'm making it known. I hate that place.
I mean, I don't know. I think Doma Castle's fine. It's just merely the weakest Stormblood dungeon.
But I think I will shout from the rooftops. Hades.
Oh,
Hades is really good.
Our first the Minstrel's Ballad Hades that we did.
That's all you said. That's all you can say about it, because I can't go into detail with it.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I think the
Name.
thing that is was the most satisfying was turn 13 Binding Coil.
Man, I needed that video will definitely go up, just a raw and cut sort of trip down memory lane.
In 2 years.
And 2 years, but it's weird watching that back, and that was a good on 2-ish or more months ago now. Let me see. I have all the footage sitting right next to me.
Something like that. Yeah.
But that fight, that encounter, considering we were definitely still very much learning the game at that point, we did Binding Coil, Bahamut, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. That was the 5th of October. So definitely just shy 2 months ago now. And then a month later minus a day or two, we did Diamond Weapon Extreme. So we went from an ARR end boss to the current Shadowbringers end extreme trial boss in a month. Definitely a huge difference in difficulty and puzzle solving. But watching the footage, it shows how much we've, I'm definitely not slide casting during Binding Coil. I definitely mess up a lot of card draws. I definitely let my dot fall off a lot, right?
They're also, the difficulty thing is a little weird, though, because they're so the encounters are just set up so differently.
They are. 10 years of design between the two.
Yeah, in Diamond Weapon, I'm healing, for most of Diamond Weapon, I'm healing Ben tanking. And I can just leave him for at 20% life for 10 seconds most of the time. And it's fine. He's gonna get uncomfortable about it, but it's fine. And then, but if I did that in Binding Coil, he's done. He dies in 3 autos.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, Bahamut crits.
Yeah, that was a good game design decision.
Bahamut crits
back in the day. Which that's
fine, because they had a tool to mitigate. They had a tool to remove that.
Oh, back in the day.
Yeah, that they don't have anymore.
Well, definitely
So
one of
now
my.
you just crit stay.
It's definitely a bucket list thing for us to go back and do, and to sync once we're sort of caught up with Pandemonium stuff. Is definitely go back and do like Savage Coils. Do a lot of the raids we haven't done yet that we've either undersized or that we obviously outgear. And obviously we haven't done any Eden Savage yet. We haven't had time to do Eden Savage, the current Shadowbringers raid. There's a lot for us to chew through in the raid department. That's my general looking forward to thing. But
oh, for sure.
Ben, what do you have? Not Doma
forward?
Castle.
Okay. So in terms of what my least favorite thing we've done as a group.
No, the most favorite. You already picked your least favorite is Doma Castle.
Oh, I picked my most favorite as well. I said Hades.
Hades. Okay, that's fair.
Hades was big fun. To be honest, most of the Shadowbringers trials have just been fun.
Oh yeah. Shout out to honorable mention to Titania's music from the trial. Oh, it's good. I have it on my spot.
I still think that fight is fun.
I have it on my Spotify. One of my liked Shadowbringer songs. Good stuff. Unironically.
The trial that we got for doing the opening to Boss Chair.
Oh man, that was fun.
Oh, we sight read that and just got.
That was a big one.
We got slapped around so hard at first.
Oh yeah. Our sight reading has not been very good.
Well, we get better at it. I mean, we're gonna Google Doc and write down notes and like time things when it's all brand new to us in Pandemonium. So looking forward to that as well. Is going in very blind because currently right now we got Cactbot helping us with some timers. We've got the script clearly by people. So going in blind at least until we get like uber frustrated because everyone's gonna have that cleared super fast. But I think that'll be a lot of fun as well. And that's about it. I don't know. We're about an hour over. Anything else you guys want to chit chat about? I know Thadrin's sitting up there at the channel. Maybe wants to play some Halo, or I don't know. He's playing Genshin, maybe. Weirdo.
And I need to get some sleep.
It's true. That's
Weirdo.
true.
But honestly, I could talk about 14 for a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
We have dug in.
There's so many things.
Topping those floor lamps. Sort them out.
We have. We definitely dug our heels in. And many of us who have been playing a lot of games together for half a decade. Some of people have been around in this community now for like 6-7 years since like I started making content online. Been a while.
How long ago was Mists of Pandaria?
Did you?
It was a while.
You need like the date. Let's look. Mist of Pandaria.
Well, no, because
the anniversary the other week.
Mists of Pandaria. Sometime in Mists of Pandaria is when I found your podcast.
Well, that was Mist of Pandaria released September 2012.
Bruh.
Quite a while ago.
Okay, yeah. So I found it sometime in like probably 2013, 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, it's refreshing to see 4 stars on a WoW expansion.
Hey, come on. We did the WoW digs at the start, okay? Come on.
They never go away.
They never go away.
This is why we can't get into it, because then it never stops.
Mr. Pandaria was a great fucking expansion. I love it.
It had good,
really good. Yeah.
Had some pretty good stuff. I mean, we're going off on like a little sore spot. I remember the stupid Valor grind for the damn legendary cloak, so I don't have the greatest fondest memory of that expansion, but...
Yo, I did that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't doing like anything hard, but I still did it.
I mean, again, in terms of like grindy stuff, I mean, it's no different from the relic weapons, right? Like,
yeah.
That's why I didn't actually mind the legendary quests like that. Like a lot of people were like had this weird thing where they wanted legendaries to be legendaries again. I was like, well, they're just not. Like people want the orange.
Yeah.
In the same way, people now want the purple.
We didn't
in 14.
I mean, but that didn't even come up at all in any of this because I have 7 max level resistance weapons in Shadowbringers, and it's a lot of grinding. And I just did it over the course of about the last 2 months or so. And then recent stream, I turned in 6 of them to full completion in different steps. And I don't remember the last time I did something like that in World of Warcraft where, again, it's kind of what I brought up an hour ago. Time return equals your investment equals reward, both cosmetic and power in 14. It just all accumulates. And I could have put that much time into Mythic Plus and gotten like one good item.
I mean, the whole issue that WoW has fallen into is this infinite grind thing.
Yeah.
Like, we've done it 3 expansions in a row.
There's just no respect for players' time. It's just like, let's fucking put them on a treadmill, and instead of put hoops for them to jump through, we'll fucking throw the hoops at them. Like,
here's my suggestion: all the people that work on WoW should go watch the No Clip documentary for 14.
Yeah.
And what happened for ARR? Like how ARR happened.
I still need to watch that, actually.
That documentary is so good.
Yeah.
That I still do watch part of that today or something.
Oh.
Like,
that
documentary made me cry.
Into the expansion.
Well,
yeah, it's a good.
That's usually how documentaries get you. They always have to have some emotional hook there. I imagine we could watch part of it. That's a good way to go out, though. The No Clip documentary on A Realm Reborn. Because that was the transition from 14 with the new leadership and everything from when they yeeted their entire game 1.0 and rebuilt 2.0, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about the transition from 1.0 to 2.0.
Yeah.
That's like the sad
and
thing.
The aftermath and how that worked.
The sad thing about it is, even if there was a moment like that for Blizzard, the whole thing that Yoshi P done is gave Square Enix 2 choices.
Right.
It was either you break even and you destroy the name, or you let me try do something.
And
it's going to be expensive.
Blizzard would choose option A.
Well, the only problem is they're too far. That's too late.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too late. They definitely could still do something. It's just,
man,
the thing that, like, I believe they could. I do believe it.
I think you have more hope on that than I do.
Maybe, but like I do think if Blizzard weren't such morons.
Oh gosh, we're going on a positive note.
I am being positive, just also slightly a jabby as well.
Slightly British,
but slightly British way of positive E. But yeah, I do believe option A would be chosen, which is just break even, don't care, destroy the brand.
Yikes.
Like, if they can change that mindset, which they won't. That's the least hopeful thing I have. Easily the game could be better, but like even now, like even though the game's in such a bad state right now, I don't know if it was intentional, feels it, but they do the raid testing for the new raid today.
They did. They
tomorrow.
A little bit of it. Yep. Yep.
Just why they do that?
The raid testing is on the same day as Endwalker launch. It was like, what?
Like, it's so weird to me.
Yeah. Saw that.
That's not going to earn you any. Like, you've already lost a lot of player faith.
I think the only thing I'm wondering about that is, like, does it do it? Does it work? Does it actually work? Like,
does it work?
It will. Like, I think they hope it will, but it won't.
Does it actually get more people, like some percentage of people, to actually do the raid testing? Or like, are they just going to play Endwalker because it's Endwalker?
Obviously, the Echo Boys and Limit, they're obviously going to do it. The
World First Racers, for sure, they're gonna be doing the testing because they need it.
The average Joe, I don't think so. I think they're just gonna do the new thing. They're gonna do the new thing that's finished, and they have been shown that it's a thing that's going to be finished and not broken.
Yeah. Well, before Ben robots out of existence, and before we get on another tangent. No, I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Just talking about 14, a little bit of World of Warcraft stuff, comparing it around the horn there. Because there's around the horn. Where the hell did that saying come from? Oh, where?
Don't worry about it. Don't shoehorns. Don't worry about it.
Why the hell did my brain go? I mean, it's like a ship. It's like a voyage term.
Shoehorns.
Yes.
No, summoner horn. Okay.
Summoner horn. Okay, we're back. We're back. All right.
All right.
Althea's gonna wear that new summoner horn. You know.
Keep on top of it.
Yeah. Cool. You know who else is gonna wear that summoner horn? Yo, I'm right here.
Are you holding your hand up that I can't see?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was actually one other thing that I think they said as well recently. The gear, the artifact armor, that's actually just going to be dyeable. They're not going to do like a weird thing. And
There's an unlock partway through the MSQ that makes your artifact gear dyeable.
That Biss.
That's pretty good.
Excellent.
All right. Going out on a win, another win. Our list of wins was many. Yeah. Our list of weak parts or annoying parts was menus. and the Z-axis.
Very esoteric mini things.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to close this out. Gentlemen, I will, of course, talk to you shortly.
Sage laser beams.
Yes, you do. It's going to happen. I can't wait. I can't wait for Bob to do his little combo thing where he charges forward and does his little AoE and gets
right into a mechanic.
Right into a mechanic and dies.
Yeah, it'd be great because it'll be during raid buffs. It'll be awesome.
No, I'm just gonna sit back there. I'm gonna sit there casting astro cards and things, or shooting glares, and just kind of laugh, and then res you because you know that's how it works.
Nah, that'll be Delthir's job.
Oh, yeah, Dalthir or res or our red mage if Duin's no Duin's not. It's a Reaper.
No, Duin will be Reaper.
Yeah.
And I'll of course hit you with that passive aggressive comment.
Yeah, naturally.
All right. That's that. Thank you, boys. I'll see you a bit later. Let me close this out. All right, everybody. That was just 3 nerds talking about 14, a little bit of World of Warcraft, a little bit of other stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, the start of this episode is where a lot of just the me face cam announcements comes from. The rest of all this has been just audio only, an actual podcast. Hopefully it sounds okay. I know I've done a lot of equipment changes. I'm in a new studio location. A lot of things have changed over the past year and a half or so. And the last half a year, obviously, a lot of World of Warcraft problems. So playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14. So hopefully you're along for that ride. I appreciate it if you are. Leave a comment down below or let me know in Discord if you want sort of more of these community podcasts. I've got 10 hours a day for 10 days for Endwalker, starting in, my goodness, like from here, 13 hours or so, 13 to 14 hours from recording. I'm going to stop rambling. My name is BadAdam, aka Bay. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Final Boss TV, and I'll see you all in the next one.